What's going on, boys and girls? And no, there's nothing else. Fuck. Welcome to our review for A Quiet Place Part 2. That's a month late. Actually, is it a month? Yeah, it's about a month. And we saw the movie like 2 weeks ago, so this review is super late. But we're excited to talk to you about this movie today. Vanessa's not going to be in the video because she is not wearing her bra and she doesn't want to get massive views because of that. So, massive views with her massive... Fuck, it's hot in this car. God, I always feel so nervous building up to these videos for some reason. Anyway, so, Quiet Place Part 2. Quiet Place Part 1, you know, we won't harp on it too much, but it was a good movie, solid movie. You know, the guy from The Office, John Krasinski or whatever, he's did the whole thing, did the first one, and he's doing this second one too. So, you know, didn't really expect it to be bad. Didn't expect it to be as good as the first one. And you know what? My expectations were pretty much met. How about yours, babe?
On the second one?
Yeah. Pretty much what you expected, right? Not bad, but not as solid as the first one, I want to say.
Yeah.
I mean, it really wasn't bad in any particular way. The only thing that I'll say that I didn't like initially about it, right whenever it happened, I was like, okay, yeah, that's what the fuck. It took some sinking in for me to be like, oh, well, that's kind of ignorant of me. That's actually really, really good. So it ends very abruptly. And I was just like, I feel like we were just like at the climax of the movie and it just cut off. But that is how the first one ends. It ends with a conflict, and then that was it. So it ends on a high note, right? The same way, where it's like the peak of the action. And they are apparently doing a part 3. It's not going to be John Krasinski doing it. So, you know, we'll see how that goes. But apparently the guy who he's got doing it is somebody that he, you know, really trusts and handpicked or whatever. So I'm sure it'll be fine. And he might have like some small, you know, say so in how things go. So yeah, it's set up for a third one. You know, hopefully the third one will not have a jump ending like that, because I feel like that doesn't really work unless you're going to continue it, right? Because it kind of leaves you wanting more or hanging to see what happens next. And well, I've also heard that the third one could not have the same characters in it, right? They're not really saying right now. And I could see that as well, because this one does have kind of an end that could conclude, right? If you use your head and you kind of think about it, it's like, okay, well, all the pieces were wrapped up, you know, and it ended, like I said, like how the first one did. So it's kind of one of those endings where at first you might more than likely not like it unless you just watched the first one, I would think. You know, which I hadn't seen it for a while. But yeah, it wraps everything up. You just kind of got to let it sink in for a little bit. But so the big thing about this movie that I probably enjoyed the most, I mean, everything was done pretty well when you think about the story that they were trying to tell. Like, this is going to contain spoilers, I guess we can say. It might be too late to say, I don't know, or it'll be in the title. But it does web the characters well together because they're apart. But like the ending has them connect like over the radio broadcast, and you can kind of see, I don't know, what I'm trying to say is it tells two different stories, right? You got the mom and the son, and then the new guy, Cillian Murphy, I think is his name, which we'll get into him in a second because he's really good. And then the girl, the deaf girl, their two stories, but they make sure they're synced up pretty well together. Something, I guess, another thing I was kind of disappointed about is I did think that the human threat was going to be a bigger portion of this movie, and because that's kind of how it was advertised, I thought there was going to be more of like a people versus people in this, not just the people versus the monsters. And that was in there for like just a little bit, and you don't even get to see what this group's, unless I just wasn't paying attention, right? You don't know what their motivation was, the people, right? The bad people that
I guess it's
got
just
silly.
in any kind of apocalypse, there's always people just fucking around doing God knows what.
Yeah, I didn't like how generic that was. I mean, they were kind of just there, but at the same time, it's very tough to make a movie with really that you can't put much dialogue in, right? So it's not like they could say, hey, we're here to do this to you. You can't give a lot of, you know, exposition or whatever it is as to what's going on. So, you know, maybe that just wasn't really something that they could have done, but I still at the same time feel like they could have put some more work into it and gave those human characters a little bit other than like maybe, you know, just a small moment. You know, I mean, they did push the story forward in a certain way with the boat and everything. So they did have a purpose, but they were just more like a tool. They weren't something interesting, right? They weren't fleshed out characters, and which is kind of what I was wanting, I guess. But maybe in the third one. And I did like the idea of the paradise and the way the monsters work and the way they can't, because they can't swim, so they were safe on the island. All that stuff's really interesting and smart, you know, that John Krasinski puts their little, because to have a good character or villain or anything, you got to have, you know, good strengths and good weaknesses too. And so like in this one we see, okay, they can't swim, but they're immune to fire, right? Maybe we already knew that, but I like how they have that nice balance, you know, to the monsters. But anyway, so we were going to say about Cillian Murphy. Now, I love this actor in Peaky Blinders. He kills it. He's British primarily, I believe, but he does a really solid American accent in this one. And he's just a great actor. I really wanted to see more development from his character, but hopefully we'll continue with these characters in part 3 and we'll get to see more from him. Because, like I said, they did put a cap on his story, you know, pretty much, I guess. And what he was trying to do was to help the girl get there, and he felt kind of resolved once he got there and saw the purpose for it all, and he was wrong, you know. So you do get that, but I still feel I liked his character a lot in that actor, so I really want to see more from him, interacting with, you know, our main characters from the first movie, right? But him and the girl have a really good dynamic for the most part. But like I said, it was so good, it's just like you want more of it, right? Like I still feel like this movie had more to give than what it gave, but it also gave what it needed to give, so it didn't like I don't know, overstay its welcome, you know what I'm saying? So I think that's pretty much all really got to say about it. I don't know, can you think of anything else, baby? Did you cover most of it?
I didn't really like how they didn't explore into the fact that that man had his dead wife's corpse.
Oh yeah, so that's another part of the movie. Yeah, I don't know. I'm glad you reminded me. I don't know if I missed that, right? Because I don't pay attention very well, you know. But I don't think that I missed this. But the boy in this movie really bothers me. I know why he does the things that he does, right? Because in every movie you got to have a character, or movie or TV show, you got to have one character that makes annoying decisions or something that you wouldn't agree with, because it pushes the plot forward in some way, right? But there was one scene in this which I'm not really sure what happened, but a lot of the characters in this movie, right? Because it's to push the story, right? You got to have a story. You can't just play it smart and stay inside, because then there would be no story. It would be okay, everything's safe, everything's dandy. But so a lot of the characters in this do kind of frustrating things, not really stupid. I don't know if I want to say it's stupid or not, but just things where you're like, no, just stay inside. Just, who gives a fuck, you know? Don't go out there. Don't do anything, you know? I mean, there's no need for this, but they do anyway. But there's a scene in this movie where the boy, he comes up, and I can't remember the character's name, I'm sorry, but the son, he comes up, and he, like, finds Cillian Murphy's character's dead wife, right? Which is like a nice creepy element. That's another thing I want to be explored on a little bit more, like you know, talking to him about that, or like, hey man, why'd you do this? What's up? But I guess it's another one of those things. It's a pretty intelligent movie, where the audience kind of has to piece some stuff together for itself, obviously. And again, because you can't have too much dialogue in these movies, so they have to. It's hard to give too much, you know, explanation to different things. But I'll try to wrap this up because we're going inside now. But there's a scene where he goes up and like, I can't remember so well now, but he starts like an interaction with a monster that leads to a chain of events, right? But it's like, why did you go upstairs to begin with? What were you doing looking at the dead wife? I don't remember. Maybe I missed that part. But, and again, with like the deaf girl, what I'm saying, where they make some decisions where it's like, you didn't have to do that. Like whenever she's going out to find these people, it's like, okay, but you would be fine waiting in the bunker, like at least until the baby's old enough to be quiet, right? And you don't have to waste the oxygen to go to between places. And, you know, it'd just be so much smarter. Just wait, just chill out for a little bit, you know, stay put. You know, that's the thing about this movie. So many times I'm just like, just stay put, you know, just for a little bit, just chill. But you wouldn't have a movie if that was the case, right? So, not bad movie by any means, you know. It was actually pretty good. Yeah, I hope they continue on with the characters in part 3 is all I really have to say, because I think the things I didn't like about this one, that I think they could improve on in part 3, If they don't have a part 3 with these characters, then the second one's gonna be a little bit more even diminished in quality for me. So yeah, that's all I got to say about it. I'm pretty sure, right, baby? We good? Or are you?
Yeah.
Covered all? Okay. I want to add in here is I wonder if they set up Cillian Murphy's character in the last movie, right? I would give them, I mean, it's not necessary that they did that, you know, of course, because I understand why his character was necessary in this movie. Well, to a degree, I guess. Not really all that, but of course I loved his character. I was really glad he was in there. But I wonder if they set him up in the first one or said anything about him, because they were kind of talking like, you know, it was just all very kind of convenient, right? I mean, they had the flashback with him at the beginning, you know, and John Krasinski is great to see him. You know, it's just a really bittersweet, I guess, to see him and all that in the first scene when they all come down and shit goes crazy. It was really good. You know, I would have liked more of that flashback, right? Because I was really invested into that. Or we could have done it up until the point that we end up in the store in the first one, I'm pretty sure. Which they had a little Easter egg of the spaceship in the store. In this one, or they showed it again. But yeah, I just wonder if he was set up, if they had to set that up, because, you know, it was all convenient. He was there at the start, then they end up meeting up with him again, and apparently, like, John Krasinski's character, like, set a fire for him every night or something, and he saw it. I don't know. They were talking like he specifically did something for him. It reminds me of The Walking Dead, where Rick tells Morgan like, "Hey, I'll radio you every day, you know, whenever I'm out there, just to see if you want to come join up with us or whatever." And Morgan kept, you know, listening, waiting for the radio, but Rick never radioed at a certain point, right? It's kind of like the same dynamic, if you know what I'm trying to say. But yeah, anyway, that's just something I want to add in here. So yeah, that's it for the review. And I'm also I've been talking about doing like my own reviews for TV shows and stuff that I've watched or different topics. So after this video, I'm pretty sure I'm going to try to put up one of those a day. So yeah, I guess, again, this was kind of good practice for that, just with me on the camera. But I don't know, she hasn't really been on the camera much lately, but it is what it is. So thank you guys for watching, and see you in the next one. What you got to say, babe?
Fuck you!
Fuck me.